This video is dedicated to the husbands, the fathers, the sons, uncles, sons, nephews, kinfolk, men in general. So the purpose of this video is to encourage. This is my call to action to the men out there. This video is dedicated to the men since we are still in the month of June, because June is Men's Health Month. So again, as we go forward in our journey into the second half of 2025, as we go forward for the rest of our lives, this is my call to action to you all. And I'm real about this. I'm serious about this because I care. I truly care about the men. Because what I want you to think about, what I want you to consider is how we're going to lead our families, how we're going to lead in the community, how we're going to function properly as we go forward. So it's Men's Health Month, the month of June. We about to get up out of here. But we taking this lesson beyond June, you feel me? We going to take it beyond June. Just like the month of May was Mental Health Awareness Month, and we taking that forward beyond May, we going to do the same thing with our health. So let's grow and let's go. Now let's get into it, y'all. Men's Health Month. My call to action to you all, we got to do better, especially myself. And I don't just want to address myself, but I want to address all the men who are watching. And ladies, if you're watching as well, you're more than welcome to tune in. And also share this with your husbands and your sons and your granddads. Share with all the men in your life. I encourage you to do that. So let's get into it. It's Men's Health Month, the month of June, right? So we got to get well. We got to do right as we go forward. So here are a few things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about mental health. We're going to talk about physical health. We're going to talk about even our outer appearance. And we're going to talk about food and beverage consumption, right? So let's get into it, y'all. Let's get into it. So when it comes to mental health, and I discussed this, I want to encourage you to check out the latest episodes of the Growth Times Infinity podcast. I do talk about mental health, especially last month with May being Mental Health Awareness Month. So again, go check that out. Go check out that video. But when it comes to mental health, I want to encourage you guys to keep your mental health in check. And how we do that? First and foremost, I want to encourage you to seek help if you need it, if it's necessary. Seek help, because for me, I put out the disclaimer. I'm not a mental health specialist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert when it comes to mental health, right? So along with what I'm going to share with you and what I'm going to encourage you to do, I want you to seek help first and foremost. Seek help from a professional that deals with mental health. If you feel like you really need it, seek that help. Along with that, here's some things I want you to think about. Here's some things I want you to kind of consider. But just keep in the back of your mind. Just be mindful of it. So my feeling about mental health is, if you're struggling with your mental health, if you're having some challenges, perhaps maybe you're having some type of illness, I want you to consider this. And I'm going to ask you this question when it comes to your mental health. Are you engaging in the things? Are you doing things that bring you joy and fulfillment? I want you to think about that. If the answer is no, I really want you to consider that. And I want you to just think about the things that bring you joy and fulfillment. And I want you to work on that. If you got to write it down, as a matter of fact, write it down. Please write it down. Write down the things that bring you joy and fulfillment. And from there, I want you to be intentional. And that's basically the word of this podcast: being mindful, being active, and being intentional. So I want you to think about those three things: being mindful, active, and intentional when it comes to our mental health. So I really want you to be intentional in doing the things that bring you joy, whatever it may be. Think about it, right? Another thing I want you to think about is laughing on purpose. Find a reason to laugh. If you got to go on YouTube and pull up a video clip of something that's going to make you laugh, do that. If you got to go on Netflix and watch your favorite sitcom, or if you want to pull up a comedy movie, laugh. Get around people that make you laugh. If you got a homeboy, if you got a homegirl that every time y'all get together, y'all cut up, get around that person. You can call them. You can, hang out, go out somewhere, just hang out, man, and just cut up. I want to tell you something about this guy I know. He's a co-worker of mine, right? And over the years, me and him, we've been working for the same company for years. And it never fails. Most of the time, if not all the time, I get around this brother, he just laughing. He just laughing. I mean, he's on his phone, he's looking at stuff that's making him laugh. If you spark up a conversation with him, he's laughing. He find a way to make you laugh. This brother here is laughing on purpose. And I admire that. I respect that, man. I mean, laughing, man, can potentially aid in you living a long, fulfilled life. So I just want to encourage you to laugh on purpose. Find something. Be around people that's gonna make you laugh. So that's another thing I want you to think about. And I mentioned about being around people. Surround yourself with quality people. And the people that you choose to surround yourself with, they don't have to be perfect. As I mentioned before, surround yourself with quality people. People who will make you laugh. People who will encourage you. People who will inspire you. People that you know for sure that's going to be in your corner no matter what. Be around quality people and don't accept anything less. Genuine people. People that you know truly have your back. And something I want to add to that. You have to be mindful of the people because the devil is tricky. The enemy is tricky. Sometimes you get around people and you really think that they're your friends, that they want what's best for you. And in some cases, some of these people are not those people. They're not your friends. They don't want what's best for you. They have like an ulterior motive as to why they're around you, why they keep you around them. So watch out for the users and the abusers. Get rid of your fake friends. Be on the lookout for that. Be mindful of that. And also, I feel like with mental health, keeping it in check, I feel like mental health and spiritual development, spiritual growth, they go hand in hand. Because with spiritual growth, it can potentially affect our mentality and our way of thinking. So with that, I definitely want to encourage you to work on your spiritual development. Get connected with God. Get connected with the higher power. Get connected with the Creator. And for me personally, this is what I tell people. When it comes to God, God represents faith and God represents love. Those two things does wonders for our mental health. Having that love for God, having faith in God as you go forward in your journey when it comes to mental health, keeping your mental health in check. Those are two things that are beneficial in our lives. Love and faith. So let's get connected with our God, man. Let's get connected with our God. Let's get in. Become that man of God. Become a stronger man of God. Become a more faithful man of God. So work on that spiritual development. Continue to work on that spiritual development. We are all a work in progress. Again, it's all about being mindful. It's all about being intentional. And it's all about being active. So I want you to keep that in mind. That's an acronym. MIA. When it comes to our mental health, man, when it comes to our overall health, we got to be MIA. Mindful, intentional, and active. And speaking of active, let's get into physical health. Let's get into physical health. It's all about being active, and we must be intentional about it. And I know I've talked on this. I know I've spoken on this on numerous episodes of the Growth Times Infinity podcast. I know I said it before, and I'm saying it once again. I'm saying it all over. It's all about being active. And the thing about being active is you don't have to do the most. All you have to do is be consistent. You don't have to do a 2-hour workout or a 3-4 hour workout. Now, if you want to, that's fine. But you don't necessarily have to because, again, it's all about being consistent. Making sure that you get in some type of activity on a daily basis. Now, here it is. Now, I know it's like they talk about being active a few days out of the week, and you want to incorporate a rest day or a cheat day, whatever the case may be. This is something that I kind of told myself in regards to rest day. You can still do a light activity during your rest day. So let's say, you've been going hard on the cardio and the strength training and all that good stuff throughout the week. 3, 4, 5, 6 days out of the week, and then you want to leave one day for a rest day. I feel like with a rest day, you can still do like a light walk around the block. That's being active. You can still do some type of housework or yard work. That's still being active. You can go, just go play with the kids. If you got kids that you can play with, throw around the football or, shoot a little basketball. You can do that on your rest day and you're still putting in activity. Or you can just rest. Point blank, period. But either way, man, it's all about being active. It's all about being mindful, intentional, and active, right? So just keep that in mind. When it comes to working out, the three main things when it comes to working out when we're exercising, you got strength training, you got cardio, and you got stretching. Now, I came across some information some time ago, the effects of these three things that they have on our life. Now, what I've picked up, what I gathered, what I learned is that strength training is all about quality of life, while cardio is all about quantity of life. And stretching, I always want to remind people to not forsake the stretching. Stretching is so important. Stretching is so amazing, man. Stretching, for me personally, it has gotten me through a lot of days. Stretching has helped me get through my rough days. It has helped me sleep through the night. It has helped me feel better. I basically, as far as like percentage wise, just feeling good, I done felt good from like 5% to 100%. And that's all stretching, all because of stretching. So don't forsake the stretching. As I mentioned before, strength training for quality of life, cardio for quantity of life, and stretching is for mobility of life. It could potentially help you move around much easier while having a great quality of life and while having a great quantity of life. And also on your rest days, you can also get in that stretching too. That's something that you can do good. That's something that's good for our rest days. So just keep that in mind. Physical health. Now let's go to outer appearance. Outer appearance. And when I think about this, I think about Coach Prime, Coach Deion Sanders, legendary cornerback in the NFL. Now he's the head coach of Colorado University, the University of Colorado, the football team, the Buffaloes. What do he say? One of his mottos is, if you look good, you feel good. And if you feel good, you play good. I hope I said that right, but it's something like that. It's pretty much what it is. If you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good. So I think about that quote from time to time when it comes to outer appearance. And this is something that I want to bring up because just for me personally, for a long time, for quite some time, when I go out and about, usually I'm running errands, right? So a lot of times when I'm running errands, I'm out and about, I might be wearing some shorts and a t-shirt, or I might wear some warm-up pants and a t-shirt, whatever the case may be. I'm comfortable, right? I'm comfortable. Got my tennis shoes on. I'm comfortable. Might throw on a cap or whatever. I'm comfortable. And that's great for me. You feel me? That's great for me. And some of you may be like that as well. You like to be comfortable. That's what you're comfortable in, right? You don't want to feel like you're dressing up too much, especially if you're just going out and running errands. Now, with that being said, I have been inspired by a gentleman, and I mentioned, where I've worked at for many years. There's a gentleman, a customer that comes through my job. Shout out to Mr. Reggie. I don't know if he'll ever see this, but I'm very inspired by Mr. Reggie, man, and very positive guy, very positive. And every time I see him, I've been seeing him for years. If I were to guess how many years I've seen him come through where I work at, I'm going to say I've seen him for at least 10 years. It's at least 10 years. And every single time I see him, and mind you, I see this brother like at least once a week. So every time I've seen him over the 10-year span, he has always had a suit on, like all the time. It never failed. You know, if he's wearing a two-piece, you know, he has like a nice dress shirt on with some slacks. He might have a three-piece suit. He might have a jacket on. He'll have a tie. But this brother is always dressed up sharp. I always compliment him, man. I was like, Mr. Reggie, you looking sharp as usual. And I admire that and I respect that. And we were just kind of talking, right? And he say, and I was like, man, well, you know, every time I mentioned to him, every time I see you, just dress sharp, you looking good, that type of thing. He was like, yeah, Reggie, you know, hey, I like to dress like this because I like to feel good about myself. And I said, you know what? I feel that. I really, really feel that. It's like, and the thing about it is, all he really do is, at least when he's in the area, at least one thing that he do, he just hang out in the mall. That we have a local mall in the area. All he do is just go to the mall and he hang out. And he runs errands as well. But every time I've seen him, he's always dressed up. He's always suited up. And I respect that. And it inspired me. And in regards to that, I am a work in progress. Although I like to be comfortable I like to be comfortable with my shorts and my t-shirt and my tennis shoes. I like that. And I still do that from time to time. But again, as I mentioned, I'm a continued work in progress. So along with that, from time to time, I do like to throw on a nice shirt and some slacks or some nice jeans. Now, I haven't gotten to the tie and the jacket as of yet. Maybe I will get to that point. But even with me running errands from time to time, I'll, you know, like I mentioned, I'll slip on a nice pair of slacks, put on some dress shoes. I got some boots that I put on as well. Have me a nice, you know, button-up shirt with the collar. I like, you know, all that good stuff. It's inspiring. And the thing about it is, like Mr. Reggie say, you know, he feels good about it. So taking care of your outer appearance has the potential to boost your self-esteem, boost your self-confidence. That's what it's all about. And you know what else it does? It could potentially help you with your mental health. If you have high self-esteem, if you're highly confident in yourself, that can provide a boost for your mental health. So be mindful of that. So if you are like me, something to consider, and you might be comfortable and you should be happy with yourself. Along with that, I want to encourage you from time to time, you know, dig in your closet, pull out that top, pull out that jacket. If you are, you know, going to the supermarket, if you're going to get gas, if you're going to run errands, try it at least the first time. Try it at least the first time. Put on them nice clothes and go out there. You know, make sure you got a good haircut. You know, make sure your skin is glistening. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? These ladies, they don't have a problem with going out here looking nice. And shout out to the men who are doing this, like Mr. Reggie. As I mentioned before, every time I see Mr. Reggie, he is suited up. So shout out to the other men that do it as well. Keep it up. Keep up the great work. Keep shining. You feel me? While the rest of us, myself included, while the rest of us work on catching up and getting to that point. So work on your outer appearance, boost your self-esteem. You have the potential to you know, better your mental health. So that's something I want you to be mindful of. Last but not least, I want to talk about food and beverage consumption. Now, I know I've talked about this before, and I want to talk about it again. And I feel like a few things that I'm going to bring up, I feel like I haven't talked about before, or maybe I haven't gone into detail about it. So there's a few things that I want to share with you that I learned recently, because for this week, I've been taking part in this virtual health challenge where I just been really getting some great information in regards to our health and wellness. And along with that, about a month or two ago, I attended this seminar at the Texas Black Expo. I attended this seminar where I sat in on a panel of doctors, and they provided some great information about health and wellness. So the first thing I want to share with you is something that really just been placed in my spirit, and as I go forward in my journey in regards to my health and wellness, specifically food and beverage consumption, is eat real food. Eat real food. Some of the information I got from that panel is that, these doctors, they mentioned how there's probably more artificial foods, there's probably more fake food, for the lack of a better term, than real food. There's not much real food out there, at least in the USA. If you think about a lot of stuff that's around us, the supermarkets, the fast food restaurants, even some of the restaurants, it's like there are a lot of non-real foods out there. There's not too many real foods. And when I talk about real foods, I'm talking about your fruits, your vegetables, the food that God created. The food that God created. I'm talking about, some of your meats, the nuts, as I mentioned, fruits and vegetables. Eat those in its rawest form, in its realest form. So let's try to focus a little bit more on eating real food. Another thing that I picked up recently is reading those labels. And something that was really just eye-opening to me when I was sitting in on that panel once again is that they talk about these foods that's in these stores, that's in these supermarkets. And one of the things that one of the doctors mentioned was that if it has a label, consider it a flag. Not necessarily a red flag, but it's a flag. If it has a label on it, it's a flag. So from there, when you see that label, you want to read those ingredients. So if you're reading the ingredients and you're seeing all these names that that ends with IUM and ITE and all that good stuff. Y'all seen it before. That's another thing I want to encourage you to do. Start looking at these labels. And when you're reading these labels, and if you don't see foods that you recognize, like actual foods, then it becomes more of a red flag. The more ingredients that's on a label is likely to be more of a red flag. So that's something that I want you to keep in mind as well. Be mindful. Be intentional about reading those labels and see. And before you make the decision to put that in your shopping basket, read them ingredients and then make an informed decision from there. But read the labels so you know for sure what you're getting and what you are potentially putting in your body. So let's talk about the white devil. The white devil, and that's sugar. And the thing about sugar is that anything that we're going through in regards to our body when it comes to aches and pains, of course, there's, chronic illnesses. Maybe you're having issues with your hearing. Maybe you're having issues with your sight. Maybe you're not thinking clearly. Maybe you got what they call it, brain fog. Maybe you're dealing with brain fog from time to time. Maybe you're dealing with dizziness, pain in your joints. If you're not feeling right, just in general, the root cause of those issues is likely sugar. Now, I've heard from numerous sources that sugar has a lot of negative effects on our body. And if you get into that mindset, that mind state where, I don't want to consume any more sugar, I'm going to eliminate sugar, you can be on your way to feeling better, to curing a lot of your ailments, living a better quality of life. So let's work on Xing the sugar out of our diet, out of our consumption. Let's get rid of the white devil. So those are just a few things that I wanted to share with you in regards to mental health, with it being Men's Health Month. Again, just encouraging you. This is my call to action. We need to do better, including myself. And I do have a few things in mind in regards to the action steps I'm going to take as I go forward in my journey. And once again, I encourage you to do the same. Come up with a plan. What are you going to do? We about to get out of the month of June, but this Men's Health Month, we're going to carry that on into the rest of the year. So as we go into the second half of the year 2025, what do you plan on doing with your health? Fellas, men, gentlemen, peace and blessings to you as you continue your journey. So again, that's my call to action. And feel free to leave a comment below and let me know, what do you plan on doing? What is your plan of action as you go forward for the rest of your life? What are you going to do to live that quality life that you deserve? Not just living, but having a great quality of life. Because I've seen men and women over the years, and some of my loved ones, as they get older, as they get up there in age, their quality of life declines. You know, if you get over, I've seen people over 50, over 60, over 70, and so on and so on, not living a great quality of life. They walking around on a cane. They taking these prescription medications for their chronic illnesses. Again, I mentioned before, I've seen some loved ones, some of my loved ones, they're dealing with issues in their old age. And I say to myself, I don't want to live like that. Because it's like, as I see my loved ones dealing with chronic illnesses and having issues with their mobility, I've seen some people older than them moving like a 20-year-old. Sometimes I come across people and they moving around and, I can tell they're up there in age. But when I ask them how old they are, they be like, man, I'm 80 years old, 90 years old. And I see these people still just walking around without assistance, without a cane, running around, being active. And when I see this, and when I saw it a long time ago, I said, this is possible. The way that I'm moving around in my 20s, I can move around just like that in my 80s. But for me personally, I am working on myself. I have a lot of work to do. I've got this gut right here. This gut right here, I'm trying to get rid of this gut. That's what I'm working on right now. Now, praise God that I've got rid of some of it. I'm working on it, right? And I am very grateful and I'm very thankful because people who have known me over the years, they have encouraged me. They've told me that, hey, I'm looking good. I'm looking healthy. I lost a lot of weight over the years. Just real quick, my testimony is at one point in my life, I was over 300 pounds. I was over 300 pounds. I got to like 310, 315 at one point. And this was not too long ago. This was like probably 10 years ago. What is it, 2025? So probably about 10 years ago, give or take, I was over 300 pounds. So now I'm 250. Praise God. But again, I still got some more work to do. But as I mentioned before, I'm very encouraged by people who compliment me and say, and they notice the weight loss that I've had over the years. And they say I look good and I feel good. Now, from time to time, I have my days. I still eat that trash and I shouldn't be. I still feel a certain type of way. I feel aches and stuff like that. But I feel good as well. But again, I am a work in progress. So I'm working on it. I'm working to get better. What say you? What are you going to do? This is my call to action to the men out there. What are you going to do as you go forward in your life? We're all a work in progress. Let's keep grinding. Let's keep putting in that work. So again, I am Reggie B, aka the Growth Advocate, and I appreciate you all tuning into this episode of the Growth Times Infinity Podcast. And until the next time, keep growing and keep going.